Democrats follow what Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and people like that say. Establishment Republicans do what Karl Rove says. I back President Trump because he supported the idea of the president being the president and national sovereignty being run out of the country and out of the states. And he's done that. He's an American president. He's actually running stuff, and it's pissing the establishment off. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not angry about some of the things Trump's been doing, and I'm going to tell you about it because I'm not in the cult. I'm not in the Donald John Trump cult. I'm not in the Hillary Rodham cult. I'll tell you, people always say, you know, have you sold out? Yeah, I sold out to Jesus Christ. I did. It's true. It's already been done, and I sold out to the truth and justice, and it feels good to be sold. Like, I'm signed on. Like, there's no going down that road, but I continually forget on air, as I bitch and complain about funding to run our operations, that when I plug consistently 2 or 3 times an hour, we bring in the funds to not just continue against all the attacks, which are sustained and ongoing, but we prevail over them. So let me just thank the listeners that have gotten great products from the store and supported us and encourage others. There's 1 trillion voices out there because there's 7.5 billion people, and there's millions and millions of talk show hosts and voices online, and they make thousands of comments a day, and that's billions a day, and that's trillions every month. There are trillions of things being said. But what we say particularly, like you got a piece of quartz, doesn't hurt Superman. Got a piece of lead, doesn't hurt Superman. Got a piece of crystal, doesn't hurt Superman. Got a paper cup, doesn't hurt Superman. InfoWars, Superman starts shriveling up and dying. And we're not fighting a good Man of Steel. We're fighting the Diablo. And let me tell you, just like garlic metaphysically, metaphorically, historically, archetypally, vampires don't like high noon. They don't like silver bullets. They don't like holy water. They don't like garlic. What does garlic do? It wards off disease. It cleanses the blood of evil. Holy water, metaphysically, water blessed by God. The sun, giving life to the earth and clarity and vision. Silver, anti-poison as well to the vampire and the werewolf. These are archetypes. But InfoWars is beyond an archetype. It's a real system in the 21st century that is proven and that has gone through the wars and that has paid the price and that has been persecuted and that has been proven to be dedicated to war against the devil. And that doesn't mean I'm some sanctimonious fake priest going, I'm so good, and then I'm diddling some kid in the back. I'm a sinner, and I'm full of life. And I've tasted a lot of things. Let me tell you something. I've tasted God, and that's where I want to go. But to get there, we need a group of people of every race, color, and creed. I call myself white, but, I'm really a nice brown if you're watching on television. But whether you're white or black or old or young, if you love God and you love liberty, we're brothers and sisters together. And everything I do is about a win-win, a 360 synergy, a 360 win. You need the supplements. You need the DNA Force, 33% off, been sold out for 6 months. You need the best fish oils for adults and children we have. You need the bodies. You need the Turbo Force, Total Energy. You need the Brain Force, Total Brain. You need it all at InfoWarsStore.com. And that's how we finance this. When you sign up for the coffee, or you sign up for the toothpaste, or you sign up for the protein bars, things you're going to want every 15 days, every month, every 2 months. You can do 15 days, a month, 2 months, 3 months, out to 6 months. Get 10% off for signing up for auto ship. Then you don't forget about it. It just comes like a tie to the truth. You fund this operation, and then you get my commitment, as I've shown you. If we carry anything in the dark of the night, like a fiery torch, it's liberty.
Mark Levin calls her Ayok because it sounds so creepy, Ayok. Or just call her Cortez. Giving somebody a hyphenated name, that's just, playing their naming. I call her Cortez or AOC, but I like Ayok. Sounds like a space alien, a lizard. It's important to recognize that she didn't come from nowhere. Ayok literally won a commie casting call. There are Democrat Rasputins, or, socialist, actually, Democrat socialist Rasputins behind her, who are old and ugly and white, okay, basically. And they realized they can't find an easy seat with a vulnerable, a vulnerable Democrat representative. So they literally held a commie casting call. Wouldn't you love to see the other submissions, like sending in your audition video to Survivor or some reality TV show? So AOC had the bubbly voice and the big eyes, and basically she's basically just a mannequin for the for the Rasputins behind her. And you could tell it when she was interviewing the Wells Fargo executive yesterday. She had no follow-ups. She was reading notes that one of her Rasputins wrote for her, but when he said, nope, we didn't do that, she was absolutely just stymied. Okay, well then let's move on to another area where I've been handed a note by my handlers. So this is where we are. Probably the most recognizable, leading, energetic young congressperson won a commie casting call, which is like looking, music producers looking for the right face to become the next pop star. And it doesn't matter if they can sing or not, because with today's audio and computer magic, they can digitally harmonize anybody to sounding all right. So she's literally just a face. But what this tells us is that our country's in deep, deep trouble because it's working. To the morons that support her, she is literally the second coming. Green New Deal, $30 trillion, who cares? That's just numbers. So we've gone beyond the Enlightenment and rational thought into the area of innumeracy. It's a word like illiteracy. There are probably half of the country can't understand compound interest, for example. So if somebody says 3 billion or 30 trillion, literally it means nothing to them any different. So they have no way of knowing, well, wait a minute, this is impossible. It's going to crash the economy. Well, that's the plan. You crash the economy, then you have a ready scapegoat, which will be old white Christian men, primarily, guys like me, that will be blamed. So this has been seen over and over again, going back to the Jacobins and the French Revolution, the Bolsheviks. It's a tried and true method. Wreck the economy, blame your enemies, which are the religious orders in France during the revolution, or the kulak farmers in Russia. Wipe them out so they can never come back. You do scorched earth on your enemies. Of course, what these Bolsheviks are too stupid to realize is that as long as we have the Second Amendment, the best they can do is trigger a civil war that I think they'll lose big time. In history, the communists have lost a couple times, and then they get wiped out too. So if they come for us, like wolves on sheep, we'll have no choice to go sheepdog on them. And that has happened in history. The commies do not always win. When people talk about Switzerland's own version of the Second Amendment, with every man doing military service and then taking his modern battle rifle home, they always point out, yeah, Switzerland's never been invaded by a foreign enemy. True. They've also never had their own tyrant. A tyrant would never get to the place where he could confiscate the weapons from the Swiss. So Switzerland has been a free country because its citizens are armed and would not put up with a tyrant. No way, no how. But now, when we've got such a stupid country, really, I call these the Dunning-Kruger Democrats. People that are, low IQ, they're easily manipulated. This is why they want more and more flooding in from the third world. The lower the IQ, the better. If they can't speak English, that's great. They'll need Democrat social workers, translators, everything else. So where you have a chance to make an impact on your family that aren't quite up to speed, they kind of get that something's wrong. They don't understand population replacement, what it really means. But if these concepts are really key, very key. Open borders. Why are the Democrats so adamant about open borders? They'll let fentanyl flood in. They'll let murderers come in, be arrested 9 times, like the last case, men murder an American. The Democrats do not care about the drugs, the human sex slave trafficking. All they care about is getting future Democrat voters. This is Cloward Piven on steroids. Cloward Piven, these were 2 sociologists that came up with the strategy to overwhelm America by flooding it with illegals, wrecking the family, causing more and more people to be government dependent until the system would be overwhelmed. This is also the point of what they now call single-payer health care, that the government will be in charge of every aspect of your life. And to morons, it's very appealing. So if you combine open borders and Cloward Piven, which is a moron population of voters, with, Cloward Piven is flooding the country, then Dunning-Kruger, the morons, and then you're willing to use Alinsky tactics. Remember, Saul Alinsky learned his tricks from studying the Chicago mob. So Alinsky tactics are basically distilled down. They're mafia tactics. It means you'll do anything that it takes to win. You'll lie, cheat, steal, bribe, spread false rumors about people. That's Alinsky. So together, what these concepts point to, we have a ready example in California and increasingly in many other states. California went from Reagan and Pete Wilson and Prop 187 to becoming a Democrat supermajority. This means there's no influence that the GOP has because of just extreme radical gerrymandering. Republicans have no influence in the California legislature or executive, zero. It's being run now like Venezuela. And it is the plan for all 50 states. If you look at California and you say, well, it sucks to be them, I wouldn't want to live there. Thank God I live in Wyoming or Tennessee. Well, let me tell you, brother, when Texas and or Florida flip in 2020, that is all she wrote. The Calizuela plan is going to be rammed down our throats. And it won't matter if you live in Wyoming or Tennessee or any other red state currently. They are going to control the whole board the way that they do in California. The Republicans will be sidelined. They'll have no power, no impact. And I'm not saying this will lead then to gun confiscation and some kind of a Bolshevik revolution. What it's going to lead to, though, is a civil war, absolutely for a fact. And our adversaries are just too stupid to realize this. And it's not only happening right now in America with this Calizuela plan. It's happening in the UK. You can see where the Brexit deal, the elites, including Theresa May and all the rest, the elites are selling out the people. They're supposed to be on March 29th. If there's no deal, a hard Brexit. Well, this is once again with the EU. They vote until the EU gets the result that it wants, and it can't ever be accepted that Britain is going to leave. In France, you've still got the yellow vest protests going on, where the police are doing everything short of lethal force, blowing off hands, blinding people with exploding grenades that hit them in the face, that are aimed at the face. So this is not just a phenomenon in America. We thought with Trump winning and with the Brexit vote that the tide was going to turn, but the communists are not going down without a fight. And it's going to take a fight to keep this country free and hopefully to maybe someday make Europe free. Almost all of the radical communists/Democrats are now using straight from Hitler, Goebbels, the big lie. The main point, I think, of the interview with the Wells Fargo executive was so that AOC could screech about putting children in cages. Children in cages, children in cages. It's pure Hitler propaganda. Just keep repeating a big lie. And the Dunning-Kruger Democrats, the morons, they're lapping it up. Oh my God, Trump is evil. He's putting children in cages. The fact of it means nothing. The truth of it absolutely means nothing. And what I would like to say now, when you're being accused basically of, torturing children, everything but genocide, we're called racist, we're called Nazis. Trump is called a Nazi after Charlottesville, which is, if you ever see the transcripts, 100% out of context. He never said the, alt-right Nazis with the torches were good guys. It wasn't at all. But that's another big lie. They just say it and say it and say it, and it sticks. So my reaction is, it's time to take off the gloves. Just like the Islamists, the communists lie. Their secular religion of communism has taqiyya exactly the same like the jihad Islamists. If it furthers communism, then you can deny you're a communist, just like you can deny you're an Islamist. I'm a moderate Muslim. You can say just a moderate Demsoc, Democrat Socialist. I'm not a communist. Every time I would hammer them, I personally call them communists, call them lying communists, point out to everyone that communists feel justified in lying because to them, a central tenet of Marxism is the end justifies the means. So lying to gull us rubes out in flyover country is just a tactic. So there's no point in being polite back to these people. Call them communists. Remind everyone, communists and socialists killed over 100 million innocent people in the 20th century. And now they're lining up to do it again. AOC has the nerve to say that capitalism is unsustainable and irredeemable. Hello, has she studied what's happening in Venezuela? The only solution for any country like Venezuela is the free market. I don't even like using the term capitalism. That's using the enemy vocabulary. It's free market economics, free, versus planned socialist economy, which always results in a disaster. But it's not a disaster for the people in charge. If you're one of the elite, the people in the street can be eating each other. They can be diving in dumpsters. They can be selling children. It doesn't matter because your hold on power becomes more strong, and you're always going to be able to use your secret police to hide the fact that you are still, living the high life, flying helicopters and private jets, just like North Korea, but hidden, except that instead of a starving North Korea, it's a starving Venezuela. So when AOC should never get a free pass to say that socialism is the answer. Socialism is communism. The USSR was not called the Union of Communist Republics. It was called the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The communist country, its name was socialist, not communist. And it's a central tenet of Marxism that socialism is just a pathway to communism. And we need to get on this and stay on it like a bulldog. Now, just a quick reminder about the InfoWars store. I know it goes on, but this can't be stated enough. There are fewer and fewer channels open for the truth. And the Alex Jones show that I'm privileged to be sitting here today, the Alex Jones show is one of them. I mean, I just saw the clips that were put together that Alex showed last hour with the YouTube woman explaining why all these bans happened. And it's just ridiculous. They are willing to take things out of context, spin things 180 degrees, and use them as an excuse to shut down conservatives and libertarians. Meanwhile, Antifa, no holds barred. So if you have a couple bucks and you want to keep a great program on the air, the InfoWars store is having a mega sale right now. Free shipping, double Patriot points, all supplements, 50% off. Free shipping, everything. Double Patriot points, everything. Brain Force, Survival Shield, Super Male Vitality, Alpha Power, Super Blue, 50% off, everything. Now, over the last couple of days, I went to a funeral up in Virginia, driving from Florida, solo. I wish I had a picture of the back of my SUV. I had a Seal Trident. I had a InfoWars sticker. They're all on magnets, so I can pull them off. I'm not stupid. And I had a Gadsden flag, and I had a Trump, Make America Great Again bumper sticker. So I must have been passed 10,000 cars in that 2-day drive up and back. And I was proud to do it. You've got to get out and represent. What they're trying to do is cow us into silence. And this is what's not only happening in America. If you've been following, Tommy Robinson, if you haven't seen the video called Panodrama, which is named, it's a play on the word panorama, which is like a 60 Minutes of the BBC. Tommy Robinson did a sting on these guys where they thought they were coming to interview him. And he had undercover clips of these panorama executives talking about how they were going to lie about Tommy, splice things together, how the entire project was called Tommy Takedown. This was just the most brilliant video. Now Tommy's only up still on YouTube. When this video came out, he was kicked off of Facebook with the help of Islamist communist groups like Hope Not Hate. They're always They always name themselves by a lie. He was taken right off of Facebook. He's been off of Twitter. He's taken off of Instagram. So what they're doing is they're cornering us. They're marginalizing us. They're pushing us into the edges. I myself, the day after Panodrama came out, I put a link on Facebook, just a link to a YouTube video, which was not a banned YouTube video. It's still on YouTube. I put the Panodrama link up, and I got my 7th 30-day Facebook suspension or ban in the last year and a half. So they give me basically a month, then they find a reason to kick me off for a month. And I don't know this time, it's like the day after St. Patrick's Day, I'm due to come out of the cooler. You know, I'm like the cooler king on Facebook. I'm due to come out of the cooler. If somebody give me a baseball mitt, you know, like Steve McQueen. Anyway, I get back on Facebook in a few days, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. Now, I just don't think that it's worth it. You're just begging to be on enemy territory. Like people have suggested I go back to Twitter under a new name. I won't do it. I'm not going to, you know, disguise myself and sneak into a club where they already threw me on the street. I just won't do it. So in the next segment, when we come back, I want to talk about some social media options and alternatives and strategies where this is all going, because clearly they're trying to box us out, shut us down, and silence us. That's why it's so important that you support the Alex Jones Show, buy the products, be a contributor. Yeah, we're being boxed down step by step. I was talking about Tommy Robinson last segment. One of his books, Muhammad's Quran, Why Muslims Kill for Islam, has been taken off of Amazon. You can still find Mein Kampf. You can find all kind of jihad literature. But Tommy Robinson talking about the jihad threat to Europe and to the UK in particular can't be talked about. And you can see how the social media titans, they're happy to cooperate with these left-wing groups, like in the States, Southern Poverty Law Center, or over in the UK, Hope Not Hate. They're happy to. So we're in a box. We're definitely in a box. We can still talk, but they're dialing down our output. You know, they're walking behind us with the wire cutters, clipping the cords and yanking out the plugs. So it's really important. Support InfoWars. Keep InfoWars going. Super important. Support Tommy Robinson. Buy his book, Enemy of the State. It's still available. Buy my books. Buy anybody's books that's, you know, that has this vision that we share, because it is important. It is all going down the tubes if we don't. And in the last few months, I've been searching all over the landscape for, you know, social media alternatives that can work. There's somebody very close to me was just booted off of YouTube. He's not as well known as Tommy Robinson. His name on the internet is Vlad Tepes. He lives in a country where he has to be very, very careful, very careful. So anyway, I use my real name and face. He doesn't. He can't afford to. But what he has done is set up a website, an amazing website, where he has connections to translators that can take a news clip from, I don't care if it's in Finnish or if it's in Bulgarian, the next day it'll be subtitled so that it can be shared all around the world. You know, you say, what difference does that make? A Swedish video, a video from Italy. I can't speak Swedish or Italian. Well, you don't need to, but it's important to understand this is not just an American phenomenon, this social media shunning. And Vlad, since he was kicked off of YouTube, check this out. He had 30,000 videos. Most of them are like 2 to 5 minute clips, most of them translated. 30,000 videos, 30 million distinct views, often linked on InfoWars. They just shut him down, removed his channel, and deleted years' worth of work, not just uploading videos, but arranging these translations until he just disappeared. So what's left? Well, you can, you know, there's BitChute, there's many other alternatives, but one that he's actually using right now is called bit.tube, and it's a true BitTorrent. BitChute was sold as BitTorrent, but it really is using servers. And BitTube is a pure BitTorrent site. This is not rocket science. The BitTorrent theory has been around for a long time, but BitTube is trying to make a go of it using true BitTorrent technology. If you click on a video, after 10 or 15 seconds, as it's drawing in more of the torrent, the video will come up to very high def. Most BitChute videos run at like 480, but you can use the sprocket and dial the def up as high as you want. And everybody that joins is part of it, but nobody's paying in. You're basically agreeing to be part of this sharing network. That's the essence of BitTorrent. It can't be shut down because there is no central server. There is no boss somewhere, that has all the videos saved. The videos are in the cloud. The videos are shared between all our computers. So give bit.tube a look. And the guy I know, Vlad Tepes, he's trying to rebuild the 30,000 videos that were taken down by YouTube. If this is a message from Vlad, if you can remember in particular great videos that you had saved and you can remember their titles, contact me or contact Vlad through vladtepes.com, vladtepesblog.com, and tell him, and he'll re-upload the videos that really struck people onto bit.tube. But this is really super important because if we just play on the enemy terrain, we are just circling the drain. We have no chance unless we find our own way that's not subject to censorship. And there are not only BitTube is one that another one that is suggested now is something called dissenter.com, which is an offshoot of Gab, which has its own story, and Gab is still extremely viable for people that like Gab. I do recommend it for the people that enjoy it. But Gab has an offshoot called the dissenter.com, where people just post links to articles. So there's no problem with copyright or anything like that. In a fast computer era, it doesn't matter if you're just putting a link, and then you can click between two windows. You can see the article, then make comments. And these comments are not going to be subject to censorship. Now, to keep them from being spammed and trolled, what the liberals do is, they'll post, kitty porn pictures, things like that, and then have Media Matters take a screen capture to try to shut down a conservative website. Remember, it's Alinsky tactics. It's mafia. Nothing is out of bounds for these guys. Nothing. So by using the dissenter.com, you're going around that, and we'll see if this can stand up and survive. It's growing like crazy. It's really growing, and we'll see where it goes. But my point is, try to distribute your links. Try to distribute your information. One that I'm still on, Freezoxy, it's still up, and you can post links there, videos, etc. But I'm off of Twitter forever. I don't think I'll go back to Facebook. And we've all got to find an alternative. InfoWars itself is emerging as a pretty good social media platform in its own right. The point is, let's stop playing in enemy territory. I know Facebook has got a lot of great attributes, and all your family's on it, so it makes it real easy to share political stuff with one family member and kitten memes with another family member. But when we're going to Facebook, we're putting money in Zuckerberg's pocket. You remember how he was back in Europe like 2 years ago, talking to Merkel and saying, yeah, we've got to do something about all this conservatism on the internet. And he's like, I'm with you. We'll get rid of them. We'll take them down. It's a paraphrase, but that's what they meant. That was caught on an open mic. And, we're just playing on enemy turf when we go there. So anybody that contacts me, if you've got a better link, if you've got a better suggestion for video streaming, for social media, I'm all ears, because this is really in the emerging warfare leading up to 2020, political warfare, internet warfare, electronic warfare. Social media is a key battlefield. And you can just imagine as we get closer to 2020, how effective voices will be increasingly banned from left-wing social media. It doesn't take a rocket science to see that what happened to InfoWars was just a beta test for doing this to more and more conservatives. First, they come for Alex Jones, then they come for Tommy Robinson, and they come for Matt Bracken, and there's no end to it. And something that it drives me crazy, I still hear people talking about being the gray man. I'm just going to slide through this attempted Bolshevik revolution, which is probably going to lead to a civil war. I'm going to stay in the shadows. You know what I say that the gray man is? The gray man is a coward. unless you got like 6 kids under 10 years old and a job in the government maybe. But the gray man is a coward. The gray man ensures that the communists are going to win because he won't come out of his hiding hole until the smoke is cleared. But when the smoke is cleared, there might be gulag barbed wire around his hole. And then what, gray man? So put your InfoWars bumper sticker on a magnet if you want, like me. Put your MAGA bumper sticker on the back of your car. Our own Paul Joseph Watson, his newest video, which is up last night, is called The Collapse of Western Civilization. And not only should everybody in the InfoWars audience watch this video, I recommend that you share it. Share it with your family that aren't completely closed off to the potential of what's coming. I mean, it's so well done. It's just amazing. You know, I wish that I could do videos like that. I don't have the talent that he has, but I can at least push it, promote it, encourage people to share the links and save them on other video sites like BitChute and BitTube and the other ones. But watch the video and share it. It's literally about indicators going back through every civilization about the imminent collapse of that civilization. And Paul Joseph Watson just ticks them off and has experts talking about each one in video clips inside of the video. But I can't recommend it too much. Please share it with your family. And if they think it's a joke, if they think you're being hyperbolic, at least it's been planted. The seed has been planted. And while I'm on YouTube, there are 3 other guys, at least 3. I mean, 3 that come off the top of my head. Black Pigeon Speaks, who's an American expat in Japan, I believe. He's not shown on camera, just his voice. His videos are brilliant. If you have the time, go back and surf through his videos. BPS, Black Pigeon Speaks. He's a genius. Sargon of Akkad, he's not exactly a conservative, but he's been very fair on the social media issue, with the Rogan interview last week, et cetera. He's extremely fair. Sargon of Akkad, I look on my subscribed favorites for these guys every day. And right up there with Sargon, Black Pigeon Speaks, and Paul Joseph Watson, I put the Brit named Iconoclast. He's also just terrific. To me, these are the top tier. They make videos that are, 5, 12 minutes long, but they have something to say. These guys are geniuses. And you might not have the argument to give to your family member, your associates at work, but if you can drop the links in a non-judgmental way, just like, hey, check this out, you can red pill a lot of people. And that's the point of what we're doing here. It's not enough for us to preach to the choir. Coming to InfoWars, shopping in the InfoWars store, all of that's great. But if we're not rebroadcasting to the larger audience that doesn't watch, then we're not really doing our part. Alex, David Knight, they're all doing all that they can, but promoting the video clips, War Room with Owen, promote the video clips, share them. You have it in the power, millions of individuals have it in their power to relink these links and increase by many-fold the number of eyes and minds that will be exposed to this information. It's not enough that and you know what I think about you gray men, hiding in your hole till the dust settles. It's too late for that. You've got to get out. You've got to stand up. You've got to not only be brave personally, you have to be brave for the other ones. There's a reason those, the lieutenants would go over the top first just with a whistle and a pistol, because the enlisted men aren't going to go if the lieutenant and the captain are hiding. You've got to be the brave man, not the gray man. If you're waiting for John Wayne, he's not coming. If you're waiting for Paul Revere, he's already come 100 times. Now is the time to stand up and blow your own horn. I mean, if you're too chicken to put a magnetized InfoWars or MAGA bumper sticker on your car, good grief. What's going to happen when they're doing red flags and people are getting shot? Are you suddenly going to get brave then? How's that work? I've never seen that happen in my life. If you're too afraid to wear the T-shirt, the InfoWars T-shirt, if you're too afraid now, you think you'll suddenly be so brave you'll be digging up your gun? No, you won't. You'll be hiding until we're Bolshevized. So now is the time to be brave. And this brings me up to Donald Trump and our great hopes for him when he was elected. Number one, he was our great hope because he was not Hillary Clinton. If Hillary had won, the deep state coup would have been a complete success. The plan, as we now know, from the Page and Strzok released interviews, the congressman just released these PDF files. The plan was, this was probably, you can read between the lines, this was the tarmac deal plan. Hillary wins, Loretta Lynch stays on as Attorney General, so she can continue to hide and cover up all the crimes, Uranium One, everything else, Fast and Furious, all the crimes. She can continue to be the crypt keeper of Democrat crimes. Comey stays on as FBI director, and when he's had enough, he's going to give it to McCabe, the trusted Andrew McCabe, deep state SES operative. And they will just keep the same game playing. Well, Trump was the great disruptor. He blew that up. That's why Strzok and Page were texting each other about, the menace that he is. And thank God that those emails, those text messages were recovered. Now, in the last 2 days, I read both the Page and Strzok testimonies. It's not as dull as it looks when you open that PDF scribd file. But if you just are looking for Meadows and Jordan, and you skip the Democrat communist, because they're just going to be saying, isn't it terrible that the FBI is losing its respect because of those horrible conservatives? So just scroll past that. That cuts the reading in half. And you can clearly see they had this all planned out, and Trump blew up the plan. But since he was elected, how's he been doing? How much wall's being built? He says that the wall's being built. The emergency resolution, the vote on the emergency resolution, I guess that's today. I don't know if it's going to happen. I haven't been keeping track. But ever since 2016 in the election, we've been led on with false hopes, gulling the rubes. First, it was Stealth Jeff. Jeff Sessions wasn't really just, the legend of Sleepy Hollow. He was actually a tornado hidden, and he's going to come out any day and lay the deep state coup bare. False. QAnon, in my opinion, total hoax from day one, just like, many other hoaxes in the past, the Hitler diaries, Howard Hughes diaries, et cetera, total hoax. And I really hate hoaxes because, if you want to write fiction, be a novelist, put it in a book, call it fiction. So nothing came out of QAnon. All the promises about the eventual exposure of the deep state coup. Then there's Huber. Oh, Huber's coming in. We've got a guy out in Utah. He's going to get to the bottom of it. And now the latest of these, hopefully not this time a false hope, is Attorney General Barr is now supposedly in command, and he looks like a guy that's quite the opposite of sleepy Stealth Jeff. I think that it's no accident that Weissman quit or announced he's quitting today. And I use an analogy to a poker game. If Mueller is at the poker table, he's got the big hand that everybody expects has 4 aces, or at least that's what the left-wing media is hoping. That's what the Democrats are hoping, and it's looking increasingly like there's nothing there. I mean, elsewise, wouldn't it have leaked? But then where everybody's saying, well, why doesn't just Trump just declassify everything? It's in his power to declassify. Well, it's a poker game. It's the sequence of who lays down cards is very important. Trump isn't going to declassify till the definitive Mueller report is out and digested. Then I think he'll declassify. But short of that, this congressman that released publicly the then classified or confidential transcripts of the Page and the Strzok testimony, what he's doing is throwing down another card, which Mueller has to react to. And with Weissman quitting now, and we can only imagine what's been going on now between Barr and Mueller and Weissman, all of these characters, the congressional committees. We don't know because they know a lot more than we do. And so what we can see through the keyhole, what we can see is what looks like a game being played of timing. Weissman quitting, they may be going into CYA mode. Weissman may be lawyering up pretty soon because, for sure, Lindsey Graham, Mark Meadows, Jeff Jordan, they're not going to let go of this bone. They're going to tear it up.